The CDFI movement provides the essential first rung for first-generation entrepreneurs, both in terms of financial literacy, and in most of the large land-based tribes, it's the only lender, commercial lender of any kind. And your support of the American Indian CDFI programs are essential, and their growth is essential for the future of economic development. We're also excited here on Pine Ridge that we have a new tribal transportation program that this committee supported, and it's new and growing, and it's becoming another central part of the infrastructure to have a public transportation system on a reservation that is extremely large. And your ongoing support is really critical for that, and I'd like to thank you for your support of our tribal transportation program. I'm going to refer to Ms. Fiddler on the particulars of the CDFI and talk a little bit about what we're trying to do with Native American natural foods. My co-founder and myself, Carleen Hunter, who's been National Indian Businesswoman of the Year, who wanted to be here but she's at another conference, have been involved in both community development and economic development projects on the Pine Ridge Reservation since the early 70s and 80s. We were involved in creating the first radio station on the reservation, helping build the first tribal college. The reason I tell you that is I want you to know that we're experienced entrepreneurs who have worked very, very hard to build economic development in the community. What we've learned with Native American natural foods, the product you have on your desk there is called the Tanka bar, based on wasna, that traditional food. That product is an example of Indian entrepreneurship. It was created by some grandma probably several thousand years ago who understood that you could preserve meat naturally. That product is now the #1 selling dried meat snack in the natural food category in America. All across the country, it's in thousands of stores, and it's sold both in health food stores, it's sold on 275 Indian reservations, and it's sold through the internet. What's significant here is that we have one of the most economically and geographically isolated places in the country, and we've built a national brand, and that this year will gross close to $2 million. The challenges that faces for us is as we've built this whole brand, but we're not able to create any equity to keep up with growth. We've had a challenge trying to match we're unable to qualify for a BIA loan. While we did have a BIA loan that started the company in terms of doing exponential growth, because we can't meet the 20% equity requirement, and there's no provision to allow that to be raised. We use a lot of, working on an isolated reservation, we use a lot of federal programs. So one of our investors is the Empowerment Zone, which manages EZ funds, and they're a reservation or tribal charter. So what happens there is that they're forced in a position as a nonprofit to guarantee the loan to qualify for SBA. So again, the dots don't connect. You can't use the SBA program. So when we try to bring in outside equity from the social investment community, we're told, well, you can't use tribal investment or social investors because they're not making a pure financial decision, even though they're the only ones with the courage, dedication, and commitment to invest in these poor communities and create opportunity for the youth. So there's a lot of dots that don't connect here, even though there are resources in the system. As you all know, there's something close to $30 billion in the Job Act for small business, but every small business will tell you that there isn't any lending going on, and the dots are not connecting in that aspect. On the CDFI side, there's no guarantee for people who invest into the CDFIs. There's many people who want to invest in there. We need to create an opportunity to increase that investment. The CDFIs are really essentially important on that first ring, but we need them to have more resources and more power to help us as we try to grow these companies to be exponentially successful, to be large enough to have a real impact on the unemployment and economic needs of the community. And I'm sorry for running over my time.
Thank you, Mr. Tilsen. Mr. Olson, you may proceed.